Hello, and welcome to the Bel-E and Scratch podcast. I'm your host, Bel-E.
And I'm I'm just winging it, okay? This is a Scratch.
And that is the newly crafted intro that I just made up 10 seconds ago before I just hit the record button. Because again, if you listen to podcast number 1, we're just little fledgling recorders, you know, still in the basement, still talking into the Blue Yeti, yada yada. All that fun stuff.
I smell pizza.
Yeah. Pizza sounds good right about now, but dang, I am full. I had 2 of those sweet and sour shrimps, and I quit. That is, yeah, that has never happened to me before.
You're overpowered by a prawn.
Oh yeah, it's so non-kosher. I just couldn't.
Yeah, it's well, yeah, technically it is non-kosher.
Jeez, yeah. So today, ultimately, it was actually a little bit boring. I mean, it was a Sunday, so not a lot of things happen on a Sunday.
If you're lucky.
Yeah, if you're lucky. Go ahead, take your time.
No. You got to pick one day to take off.
Mm-hmm.
So pick one, take it off.
Yeah, I've often run across the people who, you know, whatever, you know, it doesn't really matter what denomination it is, in my opinion. But then again, I don't get out much around those folk. But you know, the really hardcore folk, it's like, oh, you have to do nothing on Sunday specifically. And my question is always, why specifically Sunday? Because it's Sunday. Why Sunday? What's special about Sunday? It's the 7th day. Technically, it's the 1st.
Well, that's a transition from the original.
Mm-hmm.
See,
I know for the Hebrew Jewish folk, it's typically Saturday.
According to their calendar, yes.
According to how they structure their calendar. And I've even seen some calendars where Monday is the 1st day of the week, with Sunday being the 7th day, to kind of make more sense. But for the most part, I don't see that too often. So I'm just like, what's special about Sunday? Why can't I just take a break on Tuesday or something?
Yeah. But can you make it every Tuesday? That's the thing. See, sometimes when you move those basic things around and create an irregular schedule, you can get lost in it. So it's a lot easier, more basic, more understandable to just pick one day and take that day off every week. That's all. And actually, we're thinking about things wrong. When it comes to days in a row, it's less about the weeks and the months and the years. It's the days. It's like, work hard for 6 days, take that 7th one off. The next 6 days, work hard, take that seventh one off. People get carried away because they think they're trying to celebrate something or praise something. I mean, it's a basic human need. Pick one day and take it off. It just is. You can't tell me that it's not healthier to do that.
I mean, after all, you know, you gotta pick one day to catch up on your sleep. At least that.
Yeah. I mean, that's where you start.
You know, sleep is not for the weak. People who say that scare me.
Yeah, well,
I know some people, they say it as a joke, but I've seen people who were very serious about it, and it usually doesn't pan out very well for the people who take that stuff really seriously. The whole sleep is for the weak, coffee is my blood, or yada yada yada. it just doesn't end too well. You know, lots of stress, no rest, end up in the ER, which is right now the last place where we need to be. But
yeah.
Yeah.
And 10 years later, they look well leathered like the bottom of your shoe.
Oof.
You know, you need it's a healthy thing. It really is. You know, I mean, hey, if you wanna use the analogy, hamster on the hamster wheel. You know, you got to get off. You got to get off sometime. So pick a time and get off. That's it. That's all it is. I mean, if you, who can disagree with that?
Yeah, this isn't really something that, you know, I know some people, they want to put, you know, a god or religion on it, but ultimately you really don't have to.
No, not for it to be useful in your life.
No.
That's what practical.
Yeah. Always be practical when necessary. Yeah, you don't have to engage with any sort of theology to remain practical. But then again, you know, some people don't want to take advice just because of its source. Like I've
oh
yeah, like I've seen people, they will, you know, like I said, I don't want to per se bring religion into it, but you know, someone will just value one source of information, say from Confucius, versus say I don't know, some other religious organization. I don't want to name anybody off, but say you would take advice from Confucius rather than say the main guy of what do I say, the religion of T-posing, let's just say.
I think it has more to do with it's like language. It's a language. It's a language. You learned about creation and existence in a format, in a particular set of you know, images that are created in your head by the language that you follow. So, you know, obviously people are not going to they shouldn't casually veer off. You know, it's good to understand what you see, but it's also, you know, it's different languages. You know, the word tree has a different sound in every language, but it's languages that we learn and how we come to understand these things, and we hold on to that, and we have a tendency to not give the same respect to those outside our approach as they are their own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it would benefit a lot of people to, personally, and this goes for all areas of life, you know. Playing cards. But yeah, I would say it goes for all areas of life, where it would benefit to just kind of open up and at least make the attempt to understand someone. At least their perspective. You don't have to agree,
right? And
just because they have a different opinion doesn't mean that they, you know, they disvalue your opinion. Well, in some cases, that's the opposite, but
right,
it shouldn't be all the time.
Well, the problem with it is that it's some people are able to steer it. They jump on top of it like a 800-pound bull at a rodeo. Because that's how powerful a dynamic something like that is, where you do try to you know, understand each other. I mean, you genuinely do. You genuinely do. Because I think humanity can see humanity. I think. You know, so we just understand that it's something different. But then there's these profiteers that jump on the backs of these bulls for power and money and control, and you know, and then it just sours everything, because you really do want to get along with your neighbor. Okay, you do. Everybody does.
Mr. Rogers said it best.
That's right. Hey, oh man, yeah. It's a nice sweater, by the way. But then there's people that just exploit it, and it's a drag. It's just a drag, and it's so unfortunate.
Yeah.
Because there's so much love and so many genuine hearts of people involved, and their fears and their terrors and their nightmares and their dreams. These people just profiteer off of this movement, and it's just a shame. It's just a shame, It's just, that ain't cool.
Again, this is not just for one subject. This just takes place in all forms.
Pretty much.
All arenas of life. It doesn't have to be a religion or politics. It could be as simple as business.
Well, in modern lingo, they would call it monetized. It's basically someone using that product, quote unquote product, making a buck off of it. So
thank you, George Carlin. And if you don't understand the connection to George Carlin, you need to listen to more George Carlin.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Good grief.
Yeah.
Do yourself a favor.
Yeah, I try not to say that George Carlin was a prophet, but oh my God. He had little too many accurate points. Now, I would, disagree with him on many other things, obviously. I firmly believe you should not 100% agree with anyone.
True.
Because, at that point, it's like, oh, I'm basically talking to myself.
Because if you accept anyone that much, then you stop asking questions, and that's where you don't want to be.
Yeah.
It's where,
you get to the point where you just don't evolve or learn anymore.
Well, you're just being dragged around by your collar, that's all.
You should always ask questions.
Always. You should always be able to look someone in the eye and ask them a question.
Well, I mean, except for us, because that's just a picture.
Awful bright in here.
I'm trying to think of something that's a little bit of a segue, just something a little bit more not as heavy-handed. I didn't mean for us to come out of the gate swinging the big philosophical questions, but well, here we are.
Oh, yeah, we're not gonna have to. Are we gonna have to? Wait a minute. Are we gonna have to start over?
Nah.
Oh, sweet. All right, sweet, cool.
Hey, we're kind of just out there without a plan, just flying by the seat of our pants, really.
No.
I mean, you don't start off.
They couldn't tell.
Of course not. I mean, no one starts off with a professional podcast straight out of the gate, and if they do, they're probably insane and or have the money backing.
Who would do this on purpose?
Joe Rogan.
Saint Joe.
Yeah, Saint Joe.
Saint Joe.
Jesus.
Saint Joe Rowe.
I mean, I give the man respect.
He's a tough cat.
Yeah, he is a tough cat. I respect the heck out of that guy. Again, I don't agree with all the viewpoints because you shouldn't agree with everyone 100%.
I hate his barber.
I clipped the audio. Whoops. But yeah, I mean, I respect the fact that he's done very well for himself. He's
God.
Yeah, he has a stupidly fantastic workout regimen.
It's ridiculous.
Like, he has no reason to look like he just got chiseled out of stone. He doesn't. Let me phrase that. What? He has no reason to look like the MMA fighters he announces, but there he is.
Isn't that crazy?
I don't know what in his past that has possessed him to do
Holy
that.
jackrabbit.
But I'm not taking anything away from the guy. Because he does yoga better than I do.
Other than a hat. Oh, man. Man, that guy. Unbelievable.
I will say this. I swear, this is not like a Joe Rogan worshiping podcast.
No.
I'm just telling you. We're just giving the man respect.
That's ridiculous.
I will say this. My number one...
I've watched like 5 minutes of one of his workouts. Man, I'd rather step on a rusty nail. Take me to the ER and shoot me up right now, brother. Holy cow.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you don't start there. That has to be some kind of point of escalation with how he's gotten to.
It's escalation, all right.
Oh, yeah. But I will say this about his podcast, like, personally, my number one most favorite, and it's not for the reason you would automatically think. It's the podcast with the guest.
The first one?
No. The one with I think we can get away with saying his name on YouTube now, because he's basically kind of been excommunicated. Alex Jones. It's not because of the conspiracies and all that.
Well, they say that was the most listened to episode ever.
Yeah, I buy that. It's not because of the conspiracy theories per se. It's not because I buy into all of that, because I'm willing to believe a fair share of conspiracies, because not like crazy stuff like they faked the moon landing, not super out there ones, just ones that kind of make sense. You know, not just weird out of there stuff like Alex Jones was peddling on the podcast. Listening to that particular podcast, it was like a religious experience. It was like just
if they could
chaos.
Fake the moon landing, they would have subdued this planet decades ago.
Oh yeah.
Gee whiz.
Save it for the save it for the paywall, but we won't get into that. No, it's basically approximately, what is it? Is that over 2 hours? I'm not sure. Basically approximately 2 hours of this chaotic energy in your ears. Well, and it doesn't stop. And it's just like, this is the greatest thing, not because of what he's talking about, but just because the energy he's just putting out there. Wow.
He definitely could have used a nap, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's kind of like, you know, better watch out. You better watch out those bottles you pop the cork on.
Mm-hmm.
But get messy along with them.
Oh yeah. I'm honestly unsure of if Joe Rogan regrets inviting him onto that podcast.
Oh, well, you know, I'm sure Joe Rogan understands that any attention is good attention.
Fair enough. I'm just like, you basically had the equivalent of a live grenade going off for 2 hours. It's
I don't know. All I've heard is people talk about it. I personally hadn't heard it. I can't. It isn't a matter of belief for me personally. I just can't be in the same. I really don't like to be in the same spot with someone that's. It's a lot of pain someone's going through to bomb off like that. You know, legit. You know, whether it's based on anything legitimate or not. I mean, I just can't deal with the sorrow that comes out of something like that, because it's just sad and dark and there's just, you know, there's no hope. I mean, it's like, oh,
yeah, that's
kind of deal with that.
It's kind of like my issue with 9 Inch Nails and that 1 3 Days Grace song that we talked about earlier this week, which I might as well bring up right now, since, well, I highly doubt any of you are in my car right now.
Better not be.
Yeah, you better not be.
I'll get the hatchet.
Dude, there's a baseball bat already in there. But no, I do agree with the whole can't be in the same space with someone who's just in this mode of sorrow and there's like no hope or anything.
I need a break.
Oh yeah. I
can't deal with a freaking storm like that.
No, it's kind of, it's basically my opinion of the band 9 Inch Nails, especially the 90s and early 2000s 9 Inch Nails. Now, granted, here's the thing. Personally, I enjoy 9 Inch Nails' composition, like the instrumental part of it. I like that really heavy duty industrial sound personally, and Trent Reznor's his sound is fantastic in my opinion. If you like that genre,
it is unique and measurable.
lyrically is what I have a problem with.
That's a word, right? Lyrically.
Oh yeah, I think it's so. Ow. Lyrically, that's where I have an issue with Nine Inch Nails and Trent Reznor, because I was never young enough listening to Nine Inch Nails to allow it to develop into that whole nostalgia factor for a lot of people. And I never had like a point in my life when I was like really angsty and rebellious to where when I would listen to Nine Inch Nails, it would make sense on those grounds.
Make you consider destruction of property.
Basically, disrespecting your surroundings.
Yeah.
So
cool.
I
We're all one.
Yeah. So without those factors, I just can't withstand Nine Inch Nails for very long. I'll give you guys an example.
Yeah. Well,
I'll give you guys an example. It took me approximately a week to get through Pretty Little Hate Machine. It took me 3 weeks to get through what was it? The Downward Spiral. Personally, that's the one with Closer on it. Which is the song for Nine Inch Nails, Closer. So it's not because I hated it. And I don't. I think those are two fantastic albums, and they need to be remembered forever.
Quality.
Yeah. But the problem was always just the whole lyrical aspect of it. Now, they're good lyrics. They're very well structured. But that's the problem. It feels, for me personally, it's like the equivalent of someone breaking into your house and then just screaming all of this viscera at you. And you were just not prepared for it. And even if you are prepared for it, you just kind of want to go, hey, buddy, dude, like, stop. Get some help.
Oh, man.
You need to see a therapist. Like, you need to do something.
Well, there's only so much of an act you can create.
Yeah.
But like that, oh, no, there was, that brother had some. There was something coming out of there.
Yeah, I did a little bit of research. Now, mind you, before anybody starts getting sideways, I personally am not the type of person who super over invests their time and energy into researching every aspect of a person's life, be it a normal person on the street, a celebrity, or anything like that.
Yeah, because that's called stalking.
Unless it's Benedict Cumberbatch, and which is called Tumblr. Stole that joke. But, whatever. It's a good joke.
That's a word.
So I was actually just very curious about Trent Reznor, because I asked myself, what kind of life situation did he come out of in order to have that reaction?
Well, lyrically he's very illiterate. So,
oh, he's fine.
Comes from a education. Because as general takes a little bit of learning to create some of the structured sound under him. So there's only, I don't know, I guess how disaffected can you be?
Well, from what I gathered, apparently, not giving away a lot of details, because again, I don't want to seem, like that stalker crazy person. Because
not since you've mentioned it, no.
No. I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that guy from Perfect Blue. And if you know Perfect Blue, you know what I'm talking about. Oh, you gotta watch it. You'll love it.
I don't know if I don't. Anybody? Does somebody throw a pie?
You'll see.
No. Pie. And it's not. There's no way you watched the movie and went, "Hey, did that guy just throw a pie?" No, if he threw a pie, you know he threw a pie. So apparently there's no pie throwing in this movie. So I don't know.
But But basically, he just had a very, based on what I read, he just had a very somewhat normal life, and he eventually just kind of moved out of, his hometown, got really into the alternative music scene.
Sure.
And, obviously got, caught up in it, became a musician and all that fun stuff.
Well, I wonder how many piano lessons he had at home before he left.
Probably a bunch.
I guess.
And I think, if I remember correctly, someone's probably going to correct me at some point, where a lot of that chaotic, dark spirit that he just pulled out of him during those couple of albums, especially in the 90s, it seemed like it was mostly from the group of people he was surrounded with, rather it being the source inside of himself, if that makes sense.
You mean he was expressing external strife and not internal strife?
I believe if I looked at it correctly, that seemed the most likely. Again, I'm not saying that that's the only reason, but that seemed to be one of the bigger reasons.
And anything internal?
Heck if I know. I think
now that you mention it, no.
I think he had a drug problem after the fact, but
now that I think about,
kind of comes with the territory when you become a musician. Someone's got to develop a drug problem.
Well, get in line with that guy. No, I mean, I remember some of his stuff. Some of his stuff was really, really good. But I can only take a kick in the teeth so many times before I'm just like, man, I got to back down off of that.
Yeah.
But no, I thought definitely lyrically in the sound he had something that is always needed, and that's an alternative, and that is something that those types of things lead to different sounds, different styles, and I think that's cool. It's good music. It's good music. Doesn't make no difference genre or where it comes from. I mean, when you have somebody that takes that type of approach, hey, it's obviously what he's meant to do.
Although I will say this, as much as I do appreciate Nine Inch Nails, and I know this is probably going to sound like the 50th time I've brought up the topic, but we're already here.
Today?
This week at least.
All right.
If it wasn't for Trent Reznor, Gary Numan would not have had a big comeback, and you know it.
Well, I can't disagree with that.
Yeah.
I can't disagree with that.
As much as I like Nine Inch Nails...
And it's justified.
Yeah. I personally like Gary Numan better. But here's the thing. Whereas I mentioned my problem with Nine Inch Nails being that lyrically he can be a little bit little too far off the edge for me to go down to.
Well,
I would describe, especially around the let's see, I believe I can't remember all the albums because I haven't gotten to them. Like I don't physically have them yet. But basically, the mid to late early 2000s Gary Numan albums. It's I would equivalent it to basically being Nine Inch Nails' Diet. Where it has a similar
that's
sound.
The spine.
Yeah.
See, I mean, Gary Numan, he showed up and
he showed up.
It was cool. It was a little weird at first. It was like, okay, man.
Yeah. There was
sitting there thinking the whole time. He's like, when is this cat gonna blink, man?
Yeah. I remember catching an interview on some sort of music award red carpet where he said he had Asperger's syndrome, and I went, oh, that makes so much more sense. At least.
No, I mean he's hey. He's raised a creative kid, so hey, more power to him.
But what I mean by Nine Inch Nails light is he has a similar sound. Obviously, back then it wasn't as tight, in my opinion. Although I think the Jagged Error was my personal favorite of that particular moment in time. But the lyrics wasn't quite so punch you in the face.
Oh
So
yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, it's the time. There's no. It's a matter of generation. I mean, you know, the Trenton back when Gary Newman came out, you know, he you might as well said, "Hey man, you fancy a trip to Mars?" I mean, he was so polar opposite of anything that was really out there, and it was good. And once again, you go back to the, hey, you know, this type of music. No, I mean, you know, good music is good music, and there was a legitimacy to Newman when he first came out. And I mean, it was obvious the guy knew what he was doing. He might not have liked what he was doing, but he knew what he was doing. So, you know, you have to respect that. But so because that's what right, and that's what a groundbreaker does. You know, they have to tap 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 tap. They have to put a little crack in whatever they're trying to get through, and then because, you know, Trent Reznor, back when Gary Newman came out, Trent Reznor would have came out that same way. That he
probably wouldn't even have gotten into a recording booth back then.
He'd be a fry cook in a KFC somewhere.
Yeah, which would be unfortunate.
There's nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying. There's no way Reznor could have got any part of what he was doing out at that particular.
If it wasn't for Gary Newman, we would not have had electronic music as we know it.
See, and the dynamic that leads fans through it isn't just that, you know, the equation between Trent Reznor and Newman. It's that's why there's been the resurgence of Newman, because there's a generation of kids that didn't know anything about Newman, but they transitioned through Trent Reznor to appreciate Newman. So, you know, like I said, we go back, it's a matter of languages. How do you learn something? How do you understand something? So, you know, I like them both. I like Newman. Newman's
he strikes me as the type of person, and I know this for a fact.
I think I could have a meal with Newman. I don't know. Trestner.
No. Reznor. I keep messing his name up. Reznor. If I have noticed anything about people who are in that alternative music scene, like legitimately alternative music scene, as a rule, they sometimes tend to be pretty okay people.
Oh no, I'm sure, but obviously,
Reznor has kind of mellowed out over the years, especially with the fact I
haven't seen his mugshot lately.
No, thank God.
You know, obviously, you know, he is functional.
Yeah,
and that's cool.
If I was to ever see Trent Reznor's mugshot, I would immediately wonder what the heck happened. Like, what did you do?
Yeah. What have you done so far that you didn't get arrested for? What would be the act above that they actually slap the cuffs on you?
Yeah, because there's just some people in this world that are like that, where if you see their mugshot, you are just like, oh no. Jimmy Carr is definitely the same way.
Yeah.
In my opinion,
I don't know what happened. Like Reznor.
He
must have done something like, after somebody sneezed, he must have said, "God bless you," and they're like, "Oh my God, he's crazy."
I was thinking something more comical, where he gets drunk, so he drinks and drives.
Did you just say I'm not funny?
No, I'm saying that the crime that he, in my opinion, what I would imagine someone like him, what he looks like. I'm not saying that this is his actual personality, just his reputation, what he's built over the years. Based on his reputation that he's built, I would have to imagine, seeing his mugshot, I would have to be like, okay, clearly he went drinking and driving, had like a 52 car pileup on a highway somewhere, got out, and then threw a beer bottle at an orphanage and kicked a baby or something like that. And then they got him.
Oh.
There's something just very comical. He just strikes me as that type of person. Like I said, again, he's not, I don't think he's that type of person. He just
could be a complete ass and everybody hates him. I mean,
I don't know.
What do I know? Well, you know,
Not any more than some of the
said.
not any more than some of the main players they got going on nowadays.
No, I mean, you know, everybody's out of their head. They're on their ear.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you say about Jimmy Carr?
I said Jimmy Carr was kind of like Trent Reznor in the fact that if you saw their mugshot, you would just go, "Oh no!"
Oh my God!
If you don't know who Jimmy Carr is, you need to look him up too,
Jimmy
especially
Carr.
what he looks like and how
I would
he
love
acts.
to see a mugshot of Jimmy Carr.
I would actually just like to, go see him at a show because
I personally would like to attend the wake of the arresting officer. Good grief!
Yeah,
That guy's funny.
he is phenomenal.
It's crazy.
He is a riot. If
I
you
bet
like dark humor, he's one of the places to go.
That guy must love screwing with people so much.
Oh, he has to love it.
Oh, I wonder how old he was when he figured it out.
Maybe he was picked on as a kid, and that's where that happened.
Yes.
Same thing with I know that happened to Jeff Ross.
Well,
but Jeff Ross grew up in New Jersey, so
that's
literally everyone.
Once again, we go back to the different languages and different people. It's just the way they talk to each other.
Oh, I know, but
don't agree with it, but it's their shtick, okay?
Yeah, but hey, it turned Jeff Ross into a roasting master. They don't call him the roast master general for nothing. But basically,
muscle memory.
But basically,
swearing over the family dinner table.
Oh,
must have been brutal.
Oh yeah, but back to Jimmy Carr. He strikes me as the type of person that, like I said, he's probably not this type of person, but the way he presents himself. Well, let me just kind of give you a little story. The first time I personally laid eyes on him and heard him speak.
Yeah.
For the first time, it was a couple years ago. I don't know if this is still going on, but I hope to God it still is. Jeff Ross, he kind of
I remember that.
Yeah, you were there.
Yeah.
Oh. Basically, it was Jeff Ross had started this show on Comedy Central called Roast Battle, which is basically like, rap battles, except you just roast them, which personally I like roasting better.
Dang tootin'.
So he basically just went around the certain cities in North America and I think in Canada, but I'm not too sure about that, and just picked up a bunch of people who were really good at roasting in the city that they found them in, and then they just took them off to be seen on Comedy Central and whatnot.
And then they set to killing each other.
Yeah, in a tournament. For like a trophy and some money,
which a great idea.
Oh yeah, I think it's a great idea too. I just hope that it's still going on. So
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen the advertisement for it lately, but what I mean is there was a particular night, and we, me and you, we were having a good time, just laughing because these guys just did not pull punches. And it was this one round between, I forget her name, some short blonde chick who spoke with a peculiar voice, which, yeah, I know, is a lot coming from me, but... but it was this short little blonde chick, and her competition in the next round was Jimmy Carr. And immediately, like, not even, like, in a split second, his name popped up on the screen. You, like, froze for a second. And you were just like, oh. And I'm like, hey, what's wrong? You gonna have your stroke now?
I thought about it. No, seriously, man, it was out of the blue because I hadn't heard his name in years.
Yeah, he had no clue he was going to be on it.
He'd done a game show.
Yeah,
and a couple other things. Yeah, but in that scenario, I knew he could be brutal.
Oh yeah,
I was like, ooh, and then I was happy I was going to get to share it with you. That was kind of cool because I'm like, hey, wait, just watch this.
Yeah, he described Jimmy Carr as the British Anthony Jeselnik, and if you don't know who Anthony Jeselnik is,
oh man.
He's
bless your heart.
Yeah. Oh jeez. Yeah, they're basically, he described to me Jimmy Carr as being he was the British version of Anthony Jeselnik. And I'm just like, there is
literate.
Yeah, but
Take that, Anthony. Anyway, I love him.
Dude, he ended his TV show with "Go read a book." I think he's literate. But we'll get to that hopefully at some point.
Excuse me.
So as soon as he says that, a British version of Anthony Jeselnik, I'm just like, no, there's no way. There is no way, because I love Jeselnik. He is awesome.
He's a master.
He is a master. So basically, and then they come back from the commercial, and I'm just waiting. I'm just like, okay, who's this cracker? Who's this guy?
Right.
So they bring her out first, and I think she was like kind of jumping around and, talking into the microphone. Her voice it sounded like a squeaky dog toy, which, which is fair enough. I mean, I'm not knocking it.
Pros.
Oh yeah, I'm not knocking it.
Dog toy pros.
Yeah, I'm not knocking it. I'm just telling you what happened. And then they play, like everyone has a theme song. It's like a wrestling show.
And she was cool. I mean,
she was cool.
She did all right.
She took it in stride, even though...
I was like, man, you're about to get clipped.
Yeah, you're about to get super clipped. And then they hit, Jimmy Carr's theme music, because everyone's got a theme song, and he, up to this point, most of the contestants, they either come out, usually got either a walk, or they skip, or they're trying to, be all cool, like they're playing it up like, hey, look at me, I'm here. I don't know if it's just because of his personality, or the fact that Jimmy Carr is, English. But he, they play his music. He comes out. He's very steady, slow-paced walk, very proper, very gentlemanly.
Stick up the ass stiff?
Yeah, very stiff, very English walk out into the stage.
Obviously.
Like, he didn't groove to the music. He didn't, act like he was having fun.
As if he could.
As if he could. He just walked out as professionally and as gracefully as he possibly could muster.
That's why he's so brutal, because you're like, look at this crap, look at this creep.
But here's the thing.
Like, wham.
Yeah, but here's the thing about Jimmy Carr. As soon as I saw the difference between the rest of the competitors' entrance versus his, obviously, obviously most people are like, oh, this guy isn't going to do anything. But I immediately go, this guy is a serial killer. This guy is a serial killer. That was my first impression.
Take that, Cap'n Crunch.
That was my first impression of Jimmy Carr. Oh my God, that man is a serial killer.
He fits the profile.
Sure. And a long segue back into the whole Trent Reznor thing is, if I see Jimmy Carr's mugshot, I have to imagine, oh my God, how many people did he kill? Because he just personality-wise and the way he just acts and looks, it's almost like, I don't know, it's in the neighborhood of, he's probably like the one guy, anything goes wrong in his neck of the woods, the cops immediately show up at his house. Because
That's where they start.
Yeah, it's where they start.
They're so used to taking that left on Vine.
Yeah, like there was
Oh, not here? All right. Hey, man. Sweet. Brother.
Yeah.
See you next weekend.
And actually, I think that is what keeps him out of doing super duper illegal stuff. I mean, other than
friggin' mountain of cash.
Yeah, that amount of cash. I think part of the thing with what keeps him from doing the other really illegal stuff is they would immediately know he did it.
Well. There's definitely someone who fit the profile.
Yeah, I'm sure he's a fantastic human being.
I hope so.
But that's the thing. I hope so. Yeah, there's a big difference between he seems like a pretty decent human being and I hope he's a decent human being. And that's kind of the difference, between the two.
What do I know?
What do I know? I've never met the guy.
No. I ain't gonna believe everything I read about it. Or anybody.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I choose not to read into other people's lives because that's kind of creepy.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, basic details, sure, like how'd you get in the business,
Well,
but you're like back when you were a kid or a
bloody
teenager.
Can't help it because they're beating you over the head with it all the time. Did you hear about Johnson and his wife? It's like, man, I care about that stuff.
Yeah, I don't care about John and his wife.
Yeah, that's his business. Ain't my business.
Yeah, I will personally, I will engage in a little bit of gossip if it's in like a field that I care about, like video games, personally. Yeah. But about musicians, like if it's actual people.
I've been in the middle of that.
Yeah, no, I know. But if it's actual people, with the gossip is surrounding, I don't want to hear it because that's a person rather than like a situation or a corporation. That's entirely different.
I have my own things to deal with. I don't need to be involved in anybody else's relationship.
Mm-hmm. No. Yeah, personally, it's just not my style. Just the bare minimum, the basics, but that's it. Yeah, like I said, I don't really engage in gossip unless it's about the video games, which...
I mean, and how raucous could that be? Oh, hey, they lied. June Comic-Con is going to arrive 2 days earlier than the scheduled due date. Ooh, don't tell anybody.
It's actually a little bit more in-depth than that. Now, mind you, I don't get my video gaming news from, like... Polygon or Rock Paper Shotgun because those are people who can't play video games.
I'll have to take your word on that.
Yeah, personally, I don't really care for them.
Well, I don't either.
I usually like to do my own research, and when I have to, gather intel from other folk, it's usually Yong Yeah, and occasionally the YouTube channel The Quartering. Occasionally The Quartering, I just like Yong Yeah better. But personally, I just like to do my own research on that stuff.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Yeah. And, of course, all the rumors is like, EA did this week, and I'm like, oh, what did they do this week?
Did they open for business?
Sooner or later, they're about to close for business.
Oh, really?
Because they've done some bad stuff that's made the shareholders angry.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's one thing you should never do, no matter what business you're in. Yeah, don't make your shareholders mad. I mean, granted, yes.
That's exactly why the world's screwed up as it is.
Wait for the paywall. Yeah, that's basically the main thing we have to say when we're about to broach something like super topic and controversial is wait for the paywall. Because YouTube won't have it.
No.
But anyway.
No, they won't.
I mean, granted, eventually we're gonna, branch this out to other platforms, but right now this is gonna have to do.
That's cool.
But
gotta crawl before you can walk.
Oh yeah, gotta crawl before you walk. It's kind of what we're doing, and we're just having fun, really. But yeah, it's like, EA's on fire. Bethesda keeps putting gasoline on their fire, which.
There's a video game company named Bethesda.
Yeah, they made Skyrim. That game I sunk 1,000 hours in because of mods. And the second I get a VR rig, I'm going to do it all over again because it's VR.
Woo! The White Album.
Yeah, that's basically... Elder Scrolls V Skyrim is the White Album for Bethesda.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool.
It has basically...
So every time it changes format, you gotta buy another.
You have no idea. It's kind of like Capcom and Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 4. They release it on every format, every platform.
Is that smart? I mean, I don't know.
Well, I don't know if it's smart.
Hand me my cane.
I don't know if it's smart per se. Personally, I'm not opposed to it.
Yeah.
Because it's basically like excuse me. Resident Evil 4 for Capcom is like their White Album.
Okay.
It's like their game that they want, that they're the most proud of.
So it took them 4 tries? Is that what we're saying here?
Don't be disrespecting 1 through 3 / Code Veronica.
Ooh, I'm scared. No,
the Resident Evil community is pretty chill, all things considered.
You spend all that time around Mila. What's her name?
Mila?
No, the main character. Isn't the main character of that series a female?
It depends on the game. In the
No. At least the first one.
The first one was Jill and Chris, and you can pick either campaign.
No, but wasn't the main wasn't the protagonist of the video game the young lady that played the role in the movie, right?
No.
What?
The Resident Evil movies.
How's that the same? How's that?
No. Here's the thing. This is complicated. Let me rephrase it. It's actually not complicated.
No, it isn't.
What happened?
It's dumb.
Yeah, it actually is dumb. What happened is that they made the Resident Evil games and then obviously the movies. But the thing is that the character of Alice, now mind you, it has been several years since I've seen any of the Resident Evil games, or Resident Evil movies, so don't quote me exactly.
You're not alone in that respect.
Mm-hmm. But essentially the character of Alice is not mentioned at all in the original canon of the games, like at all.
Wait a minute, what came first?
The games.
Oh, okay. Well, that's legit. Okay.
So basically,
I mean, they had to.
At its source.
Did they ever incorporate her into the game?
Not really. They incorporated the movie's style into the game because at some point the video games took a more actiony approach because the movies were more action than horror, and they kind of wanted to intertwine it just a little bit. I disagree with this notion, but what am I gonna do? But here's the thing, with the Resident Evil movies, it essentially was just one gigantic showcase for the director to show off his wife.
For number 4?
No, in the movies.
Oh, the movie.
Yeah, the movie.
She was married to who?
She was married to the director.
The director.
Yeah, so every single scene where Alice is acting like this invincible goddess, it's because the director is her husband and he wants her propped up there.
I mean,
once I heard that, I was like, oh, okay, that makes so much more sense.
Well, look at the style of the movie. Okay, B minimum. It can be a B plus, but it's a B. It's it.
Yeah.
Just the subject matter alone makes it a B.
Oh yeah.
And I think, I mean, I haven't sat and watched it, curtain to curtain. But I don't know, just from her other work, I like what she does when she does what she does. I mean, I don't think she's. I don't know. She could, win an Oscar or something like that. But I thought for the genre, I thought, at least from the trailer, she fit. I don't know. But what are they on, like 8 now? I
think they eventually stopped with Resident Evil movies because no one was going to see them anymore.
It's you.
And they definitely ain't seeing them now. But we'll not get into that.
They're always lurking.
Eventually.
The search for more money.
Yeah, pretty much. No, right now the video games is it's where it's at with they went back to the whole video games.
Well,
which is probably where it should have stayed.
A lot more video games being played nowadays.
Heck of a lot more.
Yeah. But
yeah, I think you would probably be okay playing those if you ever chose to.
Resident Evil.
Yeah. The first one, maybe.
Well,
the remake,
probably not a bad way to break into shooting at moving things.
Right? It depends.
Right? Are they arm wrestling?
They're shooting stuff.
No arm wrestling?
Nah. There might be somewhere later in the game that I haven't played, like one of the spin-offs, but I haven't.
And you call it art.
I don't call that part art. I would argue that the remake of the first game is art, not just because it looks nice, but just because
that would be number 2?
No.
The remake of the first game.
Yeah, the remake of Resident Evil 1.
Yeah,
they remade it.
2.
No, that is a sequel.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 2.
So an extended story or a remake of the original one?
It's the remake of the original number 1.
Is that the one you're talking about, or the number 2 that I'm talking about?
Well, what number 2 are you talking about?
I'm talking about what you called the sequel a minute ago.
The sequel. Okay, let me just establish a little bit of a timeline so we can stop, misconstruing.
I'm not misunderstanding anything.
The first game takes place in the big spooky mansion. Okay.
Okay.
The second game takes place in the police station with Leon.
Okay. And it's the same game.
It is the same.
Style,
it is the same. Yes.
Everything.
Same series.
Okay. All right.
The third one, we go back over to Jill, who was in the first game, and she is being chased down by Nemesis.
Fantastic.
They remade the game with the big spooky mansion.
Yeah. And that was number 4?
No, it's a remake. Number 4 takes place with Leon in the village and somewhere in Spain. I think it's in Spain. They don't give an exact location. Somewhere in Western Europe, essentially.
Do people take siestas?
No.
Nah, it ain't Spain.
So they remade. It's a complete remake of the first Spooky Mansion.
Number 4.
No.
That's number 2.
No, it's just a straight up remake. Like how you would remake movies.
Right.
It's the same movie, but it's updated.
So in chronological order, would this be the 5th game they made?
Chronological order, it'd be somewhere between the 4th game that Capcom made in the series and somewhere like 6th, because there was a couple spin-offs here and there.
So there was like a 5.5 and that's it?
Sort of.
And that's the remake?
Yes, I believe. Yeah,
okay.
Don't think about it too hard because the Resident Evil timeline is very complicated. Like, super complicated.
Sure.
And then in recent years they remade entirely the second game in the series, Resident Evil 2, again with Leon and Claire Redfield.
Fabulous.
And then after that, they remade number 3, which admittedly was a little bit of a disappointment.
Oh, so each game got its own remake.
So far.
And its own sequel.
Yeah.
So they would take the main plot and they would break a subplot off and develop a game on that subplot.
Yes.
Oh.
They've done that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's where you get the crazy stuff like Resident Evil Revelations and Resident...
Oh.
Yeah.
All those weird terms after the colon.
Exactly. That usually means it's a spin-off. If it doesn't have if it doesn't have an exact number right next to it, it's a spin-off usually.
All right, old people, listen up.
The only exception so far as being a part of the primary canon is, I believe, to my knowledge, Resident Evil Code Veronica, which is the game that revealed Albert Wesker to not only be alive, but also this...
Is it Riverside High?
Apparently so.
Jeez.
Yeah, the plot of Resident Evil is just pure B-movie camp, and I love it.
Well, yeah, that's cool. I mean, that's what it is.
Actually, the only horror video game series I personally like better is, of course, Silent Hill.
Silent Hill.
Yeah, Silent
Hill.
Silent Hill, which got shafted.
Shafted Hill.
Next line, yeah. I'm working on it. Now, granted, I thought the first movie was aight. It was okay.
Yeah, I even got through it.
They recreated the opening of the video game like to a T.
So this was another game came first.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the game came first. Yeah, that's where
that's important to know.
Yeah, that's where the majority of all video game movies come from. Is usually the game came first.
Oh, okay. Well,
usually
that's the difference. My day, the other thing came first, and the game came after.
That's usually called a licensed tie-in.
Okay.
But nowadays you can just kind of inverse it. I mean, movie tie-ins still happen, not quite as frequently, but typically it's
merchandising.
Yeah, pretty much. But typically it's like the video game comes first, and then they make the movie.
You know, you got to get all those plastic toys out there for Christmas.
Oh yeah.
Dreamers.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I dig Silent Hill very well.
I only saw the first one, and it was.
Yeah, the second.
It was well done.
The second Silent Hill movie was trash. Don't disagree.
Was it just cashing in on the already acquired audience? How far after did it come?
Well,
2 years, 3 years?
Approximately 2 to 3 years, if not 5, give or take.
5.
Approximately.
Okay.
But here's the thing about
I didn't think it was going to do as well as it did.
Probably not. It really didn't.
I mean, the look of the first one. I thought everything just. I mean, it was just. Obviously another world, another universe. I thought it blended together very well.
Yeah. But the sequel was trash. Yes, it technically was a cash-in, but I don't know. Was it a
different director?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Well, there you go.
Well, not just that, but also I'm trying to think. What's lower than a cash-in? Like, not only is it a cash-in,
lower than a cash-in.
Yeah, like.
Tax write-off?
This is probably a tax write-off.
Drug money laundering.
Yeah, Silent Hill Silent Hill Revelations 3D and that is the official title, by the way. Yeah, it is
produced by Jimmy Cracker Johnson. Oh my God. Laundering money. Yeah, that's about the lowest.
Yeah, that's probably why that movie was made. It has to be some sort of tax write-off money laundering scheme, because it had a budget of multi-millions, and yet...
What killed it?
Everything.
All right.
Literally everything.
Let me scratch this off my list.
Uh-huh. Like, the story, the characters, the acting, the cinematography. I don't know.
Wait a minute. Is there some kind of nerdy rumor about there being a director's cut that's underground that everybody's trying to get their hands on?
No, this isn't Blade Runner.
All right.
No. It literally everything that could go wrong did, except for the part where the movie got released. That part did go off without a hitch.
Of course.
Which is unfortunate. Yeah, it had to have been some sort of money laundering scheme, because that's the only way I could fit into my head how badly they just squandered all of that potential.
Well, yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right, because I've definitely myself seen movies where I've just sat in the theater thinking, how in the hell did you get out of the studio?
Exactly.
Isn't it what you people do for a living? This is a disgrace.
Yeah, this is a disgrace.
I mean, listen, somebody with powers, it's obviously, I mean, I guess you've got to go up the ladder. I mean, because obviously a producer... or whoever's controlling the money has to say, yeah, that looks good right there. Don't change a thing, Bob.
Or change a thing, Bob.
Or make a suggestion. But then some of the stuff that gets out, it's like, wait a minute.
How did you think that was a good idea?
I'm trying to figure out exactly. I mean, was this a Tuesday? I mean, just. Whiz, guys.
I mean, it's one thing to have, where, there's studio interference or an inept director and script writer, and there's the difference between that and say everyone is in on it. It usually is, it's usually a good indicator. Well, I say this, but this term isn't used anymore. There is an old title.
Please?
Well, it is Hollywood we're talking here.
Well, that's true.
There is an old title in the movie making industry which you don't see anymore. I don't know if they officially killed it somehow, like made some sort of rule in like the acting union committee. I forget their name.
You're killing it.
Yeah, I'm killing it. But if hypothetically you ever go back, like, prior to the year 2000, and you see a movie that's directed by someone named Alan Smithy, that means the director has officially withdrawn their name from the credit and that they do not want to be associated with the movie because there was so much studio interference that is no longer their movie.
They still get paid, right?
No, they still got paid.
Oh, okay.
But the director had, obviously a vision or an idea in mind, and studio interference just kind of swept everything up and destroyed what they were trying to build.
Well, once again,
the director just withdraws. Yeah.
Now, is that person going to let it out of the studio and it suck on purpose because they're trying to springtime for Hitler and Germany.
Yeah.
Are they trying to take a dive straight on opening night? Because it has to be nobody with a functioning brain can let some of this stuff out. Crazy.
The
now, if you're trying to be
did.
campy on purpose, or it's a guerrilla filmmaking, like the a lot of the movies in the 70s.
Yeah.
Sure, I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
But you got a budget.
Mm-hmm.
You got somebody that,
you got people that should know what they're doing.
You have a name involved.
Mm-hmm.
You're working with union labor. And then it gets out, and you're just like, wow.
What happened?
Wow. Am I ever going to? And then there comes that point where you're like, am I going to go out there and ask my money back? You're like, I'm comfortable. It's disposable, and you just now. I don't think I've ever walked out of a movie. I've heard of people that have.
Yeah, I think the only movie that I personally, I didn't because I was really young.
Yeah.
And I really couldn't because I would have, I would have been like a little itty bitty child waiting out in the movie theater, so I couldn't do that. The only movie I really wanted to walk out on, but I couldn't because I was a kid, was Avatar: The Last Airbender movie, the live action one.
Oh.
Which was
well, there was,
I have never seen a movie offend a fandom so bad that they have actually erased it from all of their history, their annals, their books, everything.
I just don't understand where I don't understand where the emotion is in it. Visually, it was stunning, absolutely stunning.
It was edited by someone who clearly kept falling asleep.
There was no
passion.
There was no tension.
There was no tension, no emotion. There was nothing.
Oh man!
Apparently, I did a little bit of research because this was just such.
Been more excited about tying my shoes.
Yeah, and
crazy.
Apparently, the whole thing was being run by M. Night Shyamalan. Like, he wrote the script, he directed it, he had the biggest hand to play in, because this was back when he was still the man.
You know what?
So there was no studio interference, it was all him. So, this comes from the whole thing of, people think just because it's...
an idea.
It comes from the whole thing of just because it's a cartoon, like some sort of form of animation, people don't take it seriously, because they think it's for children, despite the fact that there have been examples in history where
I would hope
animation has
that someone of his standing would abstain from a project he didn't respect.
Yeah, apparently he didn't have a choice, I don't think, or else he wouldn't have done it. I think I don't know the details of it.
I thought he was the guy that could do anything he wanted, and that's why he got the role in the first place.
I think there was some sort of contract issue with whatever studio he was aligned with, because he clearly had no passion for the project.
Well, did Did he submarine? I mean, did he submarine it? Was it on purpose? You see what I'm saying?
I don't think it was on purpose. Well, per se, I don't think.
But I mean,
I don't think he did it like as a money laundering scheme, as we talked earlier.
No, absolutely
because
not.
He strikes me.
It's just it's right up. It's like that word you're trying to say. So I got it on the tip of my tongue.
Mm-hmm.
It's just up against the door,
mm-hmm.
and any kind of tension would have just sweetened it. But there was just none.
Yeah, there was nothing. No one could act. You got the guy from Slumdog Millionaire. He somehow couldn't act, which threw me off.
What I'm wondering is that type of M. Night Shyamalan, wasn't he? Where was he born?
I think he's Indian.
I believe he is as well. I'm just curious as to where he was born.
Mm.
Maybe in his understanding there was everything fell into place the way it was supposed to. I don't know. Maybe
I know he didn't have any passion for the project,
but then again, maybe he was. I mean, because the cartoon series is just fantastic.
That was the best fight of my childhood.
But
Zuko and Azula.
They do spend a lot of time yelling at each other.
Yeah.
That's gotta hurt. But I don't know. I mean, maybe who directed the cartoons?
It was these two guys. I forget their names. I'm sure it really doesn't matter right at this second, but I'm looking it up anyway.
No, it doesn't.
Okay. It was mostly two guys who were in complete control of that whole situation.
Yeah.
And they did fantastic.
I mean, everything looks good in the cartoon. I mean, the stories, I mean, for what it is. And maybe that's it. Maybe you have a higher expectation of a movie versus a cartoon.
Yeah, because you don't expect themes of war. You don't expect themes of war, refugees. Let's see. What did Avatar: Last Airbender have? They had war. They had like the consequences of war, refugees. I'm trying to think. Corruption of the state with the Dai Li. They had like these early Game of Thrones-esque little itty bitty things with Zuko and his past, and of course my personal favorite that they somehow managed to tackle and not immediately get canceled: genocide.
Well,
oh my god, I cannot believe they got away with that. Because that is a big theme, especially
it's a big word.
Yeah, especially with the Fire Nation. The fact that they are essentially committing mass genocide across the entire planet, and it's like, how did you get away with that?
And that kind of always the basis of all the cartoons.
Genocide.
Getting rid of the other side. Whoever the other side is, we're blank and we don't like blank, so we're going to get rid of blank. And just fill in the blanks. Well,
technically speaking, war ultimately it's not just that, but it's also just acquisition of resources, be it land or food or water or just general whatever. But there's a difference between acquisition of land, property, food, water, shelter, whatever, versus, hey, this entire type of people, I'm trying not to say the R word, this entire type of people, they need to not exist anymore.
Well, they either kill them in battle or take them as slaves. So, I mean, and they eventually, as slaves, incorporate them into their own bloodline. At least for the masses anyway. Yeah. So what you're doing is you're literally interjecting new life into your society I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, it's just one of those things that takes hundreds or 1,000 years to accomplish what it does. It just does. I mean, you can follow it all the way back, and it always happens.
Yeah. Thankfully, the cartoon Avatar never got to that point because that would have been really hard to explain to the Nickelodeon board of directors how not only in your your fancy cartoon about you're bending the elements and you talk about genocide and family drama that would make Game of Thrones blush.
Is it?
Yeah, probably. But yeah.
No. Game of Thrones thing.
Yeah, the Game of Thrones. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, where's the food? Yeah. I'm trying to. I don't want to get too spoilery, even though I'm pretty sure majority of people on the planet has seen Avatar already, thanks to Netflix.
I mean, it's worth a go.
Oh, it is worth a go.
It's worth seeing once. And if you've never seen the cartoon, probably. I mean, I don't
watch the
unlike it.
Don't watch the movie. Just don't do it.
Bad.
There is no war in Ba Sing Se.
It is not bad.
It is that bad.
It is not.
It was horrible. I told you I almost wanted to walk out on it when I was a kid.
Well, what good was, and it wasn't good.
No, it was
definitely
not
wasn't
good.
Great. It was okay. It's like a C.
It's basically just it was
C?
bad.
Or less. What do you grade it?
I'd give it a D minus.
A D minus. Damn.
Here's the thing, if you're not a huge
That's
fan,
just a mark for effort right there.
Yeah,
That's
basically. Here's the thing, if you are not a huge fan of the series, then this would be like a C plus. If you're not a huge fan of the series.
Wait a minute, is there like a huge group of you people that are very disgruntled over that movie?
They're still disgruntled.
Really?
After all of these years. No one will talk about it. No one will speak of it.
Aww.
However, if you are a big fan of the original series and you watched it and you've seen it and digested it even as a child or whatever you did, if you're a fan of the original series, this is definitely a D minus.
All right.
Yeah, it's people are still disgruntled.
I was really surprised they took a chance trying to bring it to the screen, and then when they announced who was directing it, I thought, well, maybe it's possible. Said maybe there's some kind of underground hidden director's cut somewhere. The studio said, no effing way.
Yeah.
Get your skinny bony butt out of here. So I don't know.
No, unfortunately not, because someone would have found it by now.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. Although I have to say, I'm tired of flipping over these movies that now have the extended version from like 10 years ago. What's up with that?
I don't know. I think part of it is, let's see. I'm trying to think. These guys may not be the main source of it, but I do know them as a source of it. There is a, I'm trying to think of their official title, but I can only think of their, subsidy.
Their accountant?
No, not the accountant.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
There's a business that I personally know them as Scream Factory.
Scream Factory.
Scream Factory. It's a web.
Scream. I scream.
Yeah.
We all scream.
Pretty much, yeah. It's I forget the original name of it, but it's like their horror movie division.
Okay.
Where they go and they find they basically do their best to find the most complete extended director's cut version of movies.
Yeah. And
they release them to the public. So, for Screen Factor...
Do they get the directors okay? Or it just doesn't matter. He doesn't own the property, then do whatever they want kind of thing?
I think so. I'm not sure how they go about it. I'm assuming they have the studio's blessing. Some of the movies, think that they're owned by nobody, so it's kind of a Night Dive studio sort of thing where they just pick up the rights and then just re-release it.
Well... I mean, I guess if you pick something up for the right price, cost analysis and determined that you can make money doing that. No, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
But I've already purchased those bloody DVDs, and
I haven't.
Yeah, well, no, I know you haven't. But I'm thinking, you know what? I would like to have seen that. I would like to have paid money for that. Why couldn't I have paid money for that? So, because I'm thinking about engaging it again. I'm like, I'm thinking about watching it, but I've already seen the thing. How much, I'm just curious how different it could be. There's obviously only one way to find out. I just wish I had I wish that had been an option at the time. That's what kind of bugs me about those. But hey,
pretty much
the search for more money. Oh, goodness.
Yeah. Kind of late.
It's been a good day.
It's been a good day. Pretty lazy day. Got to talk about my favorite subjects in a stream. So
you aren't going to bring up Trent Reznor again, are you?
Only if you ask.
Well, don't worry about that.
Trust me, that was kind of the only thing I really had about the guy, was just the fact that it just kind of was like a little too much for me. But that's about it. Other than that, I don't have an opinion.
Yeah.
All right. You good? All right. Well, we gotta go because unlike most people who in the world, we actually have to get back to our jobs.
Swing low, sweet jet. Yeah, we gotta go to the job. Gotta hit the clock.
Which is a drag, but we can probably talk about that another time.
A complete drag, anyway.
Yeah. Yes. Don't worry, we'll bring up stuff like that probably at some point in the future. So, this was the Bel-E and Scratch podcast. I was your host, Bel-E.
She really was. And this is Scratch.
And we're wrapping up shop here. That doesn't make sense, but I'm sticking to it anyway. So, hopefully we'll catch y'all next time.
See ya.
Bye.